Fantasy Football Sniper coming at you, and this video is a shout out to Rai Manchu on the Guitar Gear forum. So there's a few questions, and I think this really applies to a lot of people, questions to explore. Just issues with drafting, and that's kind of what I was aiming for when I designed this notes page here that I had discussed in the last video. So rather than taking your players and adjusting pre-draft rankings, and that's insane. If you've ever been like on an ESPN draft and you're trying to shuffle players around in case the computer auto drafts the wrong player for you, just trying to make those rankings. I mean, that's, and in the end, a lot of these decisions are arbitrary, right? Because you have just hundreds and hundreds of players. You're trying to get your orders straight. And then the whole idea is when the pressure of the draft comes that you can't make the best decisions. You rely on this pre-ranking, either that you made or you got from someone else. A lot of times these decisions are arbitrary, right? People are saying, oh, I have them down for, 8.3 touchdowns and 1,024 yards or whatever. Like, these numbers are arbitrary and it's ridiculous. But I think what is not ridiculous is trying to identify players that you really are hot on or players that you are not on. So I keep the ADP list so I can see what other people in the room, what they're thinking in terms of if I'm in the fourth round, I need to know what players are left. I don't want to jump too high on a player. Like I said in the last video, I love Deshaun Jackson. I don't want to grab him on my rankings. He might wind up fifth round, right? But I don't want to take him there because I want to get good value. I love Deshaun Jackson because of the value. I love him regardless of the way he plays football and his prospects for this year. But I want to know where other people are drafting. So I keep my ADP list in order, try to keep that updated as best I can. And then I just highlight green that I like, big and bold, or I make it red for players I don't like. Players I'm trying to cross off. I'm in a lot of half point per reception leagues. And unless you're in a standard league, which I'm not sure why you would be these days, but okay, let's say you are, then Marlon Mack is a worthy candidate. But for me, I don't want Marlon Mack on my team. So download this document. If you are in a standard league and you like Marlon Mack, you can just erase that right out. You should be adjusting these rankings because no one has all the answers, right? So these are just my notes. And if you don't have time to go through things, you can definitely rely on this. And I think you'll be better off. But if you have some things you disagree with, definitely go in there and make your changes. That's the beautiful thing about this approach, that you can kind of customize it to your needs. So that's sort of my drafting strategy. So when I have a minute on the clock, I can quickly scroll down and see who's green on my list. And I try not to green everyone, right? This is like the principle when you're studying for any kind of class. If you start highlighting everything to remember what's important and you highlight everything, then if everything's important, nothing's important. All right. So I just try to pick my spots as best I can. It is going to light up like a Christmas tree. But in general, some players I don't have to light up. Although today, you know what? The more I'm reading about the Cardinals, a new offense and that quarterback, I was going to say these top players, like I love Barkley and McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara. But David Johnson, I think, is being undervalued. Like, I don't have to highlight these top players, right? But David Johnson, he's sticking out to me a little bit. I think he could be in for a monster year. I think that's my player, my hot player for today in my mind. A lot of football is still to be played as we go through these preseason games and see how things develop. It is a rookie quarterback, new coach. So do I have a summer love affair going on? I don't know, because that could blow up in my face. I had David Johnson, I think, a lot of the year last year in some leagues, and he finished with good numbers, but that offense was abysmal to watch. If you watch any of those games, running it right up the middle for a guy of his talent, it was incredibly frustrating. All right, but they have a whole new system. If you haven't been paying attention, Arizona's got a whole new system. They're actually going to probably be one of the quickest paced offenses in the league. Now, could it be like Chip Kelly when he came in and they were just lit the league up and they looked dynamite and it was like really progressive thinking and a new way to do things. But then eventually it did blow up in Chip's face and all of a sudden he went from genius to idiot really fast in a lot of people's minds, right? So, same with the Wildcat 10 years before that. The Wildcat was lighting it up with, who was that in Miami? I think it was Ricky Williams, but there was that other guy that he also played for the Eagles later on. Had an awful fumble. I don't know, but they were lighting up the Wildcat and the Patriots, and the whole league decided to jump on it. Everyone was scoring touchdowns, and then all of a sudden, less than a year, nobody was scoring touchdowns, and they got rid of the Wildcat. So I don't know, is David Johnson, are we going to get that quick flash? He's got the talent. I'm never concerned about him. I'm concerned about that god-awful team that he's been on. Hopefully the new quarterback's as skilled as they say he is, the number one pick, right? And the new coaches can put them in good positions, because I believe in Johnson's talent. I have to look more into that team. Oh, man, I just went on a David Johnson monologue. I'm really digging on him. I have to think about how high I want to take him. So when drafting, you definitely want to have the players that you like. Maybe Johnson's not your guy. Maybe you're looking at Alvin Kamara and you're thinking, man, Mark Ingram's gone. We all saw what Alvin Kamara did, right? That first half of last year was like, it was like the old days where we just dominated. Those dominating running backs, like the old days when LaDainian Tomlinson would just tear things up, and put up monster yards and touchdowns. And Alvin Kamara was doing that. He was on a super elite level. And then Mark Ingram came back, and all of a sudden Kamara was still putting up super number one numbers, but he definitely took a fall. So now that Ingram's out, Latavius Murray, people are thinking he's going to be serviceable, and it's not that much of a difference. I think it is a difference from Ingram. I'm just not sure how much that's going to affect Kamara. Got to look deep into that. But I could see somebody being super hot for Alvin and that offense and thinking that you're going to get over 20 touchdowns and you're going to get over 2,000 yards, and he's just going to light it up and lead your way to the championship regardless of what scrubs are on your team. Kamara has that kind of ceiling to just totally carry you through, even if you make some bad draft decisions. So I could see you being hot for Kamara or Johnson, whoever your player is. You can change my colors around. So that's sort of a quick view onto my drafting strategy. Let's take a look at some more questions here. Spotting a player about to break out. That's a great one. And this, we watched these preseason games. So I'm thinking recent memory. Sam Bradford on the Eagles. Wasn't he like 10 for 10 with a couple touchdowns? And he was doing this for like a few preseason games in a row. And Eagles fans were sky high. We're like, oh my God, this guy is like Joe Montana. He's just hitting everybody. The offense is purring along. This is going to be a juggernaut. And then game one came. And we all say Bradford, he gets injured. Otherwise, he's a high draft capital player. But he wasn't injured those first couple games of that. After that preseason where he was amazing and 100%, he was about as awful as you could be. So, trying to spot those players to break out in the preseason can have its pitfalls for sure. You can definitely find that. I remember Amir Abdullah a couple years ago. He was the summer darling. Do you remember how awesome he was in Detroit? I think he would turn the corner, juke a few players, knock someone over, and run for 50 yards for a touchdown. He did that a couple times, and man, I was so sky high on Abdullah. I was like, this guy's in a great situation. Calvin Johnson was still on the team. Stafford was coming off a hot year, and I'm like, man, you plug in. I was thinking he was like Marshall Faulk. I'm going to get like numbers everywhere, and he's barely an NFL player anymore, right? In case you lost track of him, he's over in Minnesota now. So there's another pitfall for you. So how do you determine who are the players that are breaking out and who are the ones that are just landmines ready to blow up in your face? That is a question we're all definitely taking a look at. So to still watch those games, but temper your enthusiasm. For sure, we can get into summer love affairs, and then the season comes and the real hitting begins, and the offensive and defensive schemes go from vanilla to super complicated, and all of a sudden, things can turn upside down on you. So I think the best way to do it is to look at the scheme of the teams and the health. If you have a player that's already hurt, already missing games, already tweaking hamstrings, already are they going on the PUP list? If you have questions like that on a young player, you know what? If they're going to break out, I'm going to let them break out for somebody else, because everybody's hurt, right? And in October, everybody's hurt. But when it's not even week 1 yet and your guys are already like banged up, like Todd Gurley, I mean, man, I love Todd Gurley. I love the way he plays, and it's really saddens me to say it. It does not look good. Let someone else take Todd Gurley. These players that are all listed around Gurley, from Barkley all the way down to, I guess you could make a case for Damian Williams, right? I think I would take Gurley over Fournette because he's always hurt too. How does he not have a hurt name next to him? Let's fix that. So I'm going to put a hurt name because this guy's always hurt. Talented player, always hurt. I can't fit it all in. Let's call him Leo. So I think one of the key things when picking a player that's breaking out, you can find one of these older players, like say Todd Gurley. He's hurt a lot. They're already talking about he's no longer a bell cow. He's got arthritis in his knee. His knee's never going to be what it was. So let's scroll on down. Let's find, where is that other Ram? They got a Henderson or something like that, right? Let's find that guy. And we're going to put him on our list. He should already be green. Where is that guy at? He shouldn't be too far down the list. Oh my gosh, his name dropped out of my head. Here he is, Henderson on the Rams. Let's make him bigger, because you know what? If I'm going to sit here and say, too bad for Todd Gurley, that means Henderson, who was a high draft pick, if you can be patient, I don't expect week 1 or September Henderson's going to light it up. He has a chance, obviously. But if you can hold on to him, that might be a bit of a high draft pick for someone that you're just trying to hold on to. I think that guy could light it up because that offense is amazing. And if Gurley is banged up, Henderson's going to get some touches. Now, there does get to be a point of diminishing returns. Man, he's up there pretty high, and you have people like James White, who you don't have to worry about anyone getting hurt. James White is always going to get his touches in the receiving game if you have a PPR. But that is one strategy on spotting breakout players. Find the hurt player, and then find the backup. If you have... let's see, if you're picking up a Jordan Howard, you want to know about Miles Sanders as well. And this also gets to the point of September picks versus long-range picks. Jordan Howard is an obvious September player, right? You know he's going to get in there. They are not putting the rookie in there, especially in passing downs, to protect Carson Wentz, who is their future, and they invested everything in Carson Wentz. They're not putting a rookie in there. That offensive scheme is complicated. Peterson comes from Andy Reid's line of coaching. They are not putting a rookie in there to be confused and let Wentz get his head taken off. So Jordan Howard is going to get a lot of the September touches and have that chance to win the job. So if you're taking Miles Sanders too high, you're going to see him cut in leagues before September's over. That's when you scoop him up. And Jordan Howard is being underdrafted. Some people think Miles Sanders, if he's healthy, nobody can beat him on the Eagles squad. I've read that on Eagles releases. Well, Miles Sanders is a little banged up as well. I don't have that on there. He hasn't been playing. He's not even getting any touches now, and he's a rookie. There's no way September that Jordan Howard is not the feature back. That doesn't mean he's bell cow and getting 30 touches like John Riggins, just plowing all over the place. But he's going to get the majority of touches for sure in September. And he's produced in his career. He's also underproduced. So, but as far as September players, that's why I really like Jordan Howard. And Miles Sanders, I wouldn't even bother drafting him. That's way too high, I think, where he's being drafted when I do mocks. And somebody's going to get frustrated and just outright cut him. You don't even have to target him for a trade. You can target him for a free agent waiver pickup later. All right. And that is a player that actually could be a breakout after Halloween. That's the kind of player you want to look at for breaking out after Halloween. I love this question, spotting breakout players. And that's what being a sniper is all about. You have to be one step ahead of the curve because these days everyone has the same information. So we have to figure out how to analyze that information and jump in there just a little quicker and with a little more wisdom than the other 11 people in your league. So in general, wideouts, I really value wideouts. I want to get a great